What up, peoples? What up, what up, what up? I'm so glad you're getting much needed air and space. I'm trying.
We fight the power every day. Yeah! Gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey! I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it. Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
What up, y'all?
You gonna send another text?
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on because it takes two to tango, and I need to hit his side of the story. So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
Everybody hit that like button. Let's go. Let's go. We about to get active. Like it. Share it. Like it. Share it. What up, everybody? Tap in. Listen to this first clip.
The reason all of us are stressed out and on the brink of walking away from everything and everybody is because we are the ones who do all the pouring. And because we are the ones who do all the pouring, ever have nobody who pours back into us. So when they need a rock, we the rock for them. When they need a rider, we the rider for them. When they depressed, we speak life over them. When they ain't got it, we give them what we got. Then the moment, God forbid, you say, I need something, all they tell you is, you got it. No, I don't got it. I'm not even the type that would even tell you if something was wrong with me. So if I ever say something's wrong with me, you need to stop and realize something's wrong with me. And I'm trying not to lose my head.
Whoa, yeah. Here we go. The Voice of Reason live on KBLA Talk 1580. What is the name of that pastor? Do you know? What's the name of that clip? And I understand what he's saying about pouring in. Okay, so let me just do this really quickly. Run over some basic concepts about the Voice of Reason, right? It's a relationship show, but it's unlike any relationship show you've ever encountered. Why? Because this is a relationship show primarily about having a high quality relationship with oneself. That's number one. Understanding that everybody is a work in progress. Understanding that because we're all works in progress, we are all prone to hurting each other, right? So this whole show is about the process of growing up spiritually. Many people are so caught up on the social dynamics of relationship that the spiritual understanding of relationship kind of goes underwater, right? I'm about to, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. You got hurt preachers out here in the pulpit hurting parishioners, right? I know you don't want to hear me put it that way, okay? When Jashana Johnson sat right here, Dr. Jashana Johnson, she sat right here. And she said, you know what? I don't like, the love languages. And I said, why? And she said, well, because they are coming from this unhealed space, attachment wounds. I like gifts. I like physical touch. I like this. I like that. Based off of what I didn't get. See, to pour into someone is not a transaction that should be paid back. See, somebody taught you wrong. You are taking a spiritual practice and turning it into transactionalism based off of what you didn't get. You're dealing with works in progress. You're dealing with broken people. You're dealing with hurt people. You're expecting hurt people to show up the way you really shouldn't show up for them because you don't have it. See, when you pour from a finite cup, there is a natural inclination to ask for it back. You didn't have it to give in the first. Ooh, do you understand me? Many people are pouring from a half-empty cup, and they are loaning you grace. And to me, a grace loan isn't really grace. And I have to talk about this because many of us, right, will find ourselves resenting people, right, that we poured into because there is this inclination that you're supposed to give it back. Well, if you are pouring from an infinite source, guess what? You don't need it back. See, your pour should be connected to the source, but it isn't. It is connected to your wounds. When you pour, you are silently wishing that they give it back, right? Give what back? Validation, appreciation, approval, all the things your attachment wounds, your attachment styles crave. Remember that time I showed up for you? How you gonna ask another work in progress to show up for you? Were you showing up authentically without a wound agenda? 1-800-920-1580. Somebody, tonight's topic. Are you half full or half empty? The unconditional pour. A deeper look at our inability to pour infinitely from ourselves into others because of the influences of unrequited worthiness wounds. I'm giving because I'm wanting. Are you listening? I'm giving because really I want something. Are you a giver by nature? Are you a giver by pain? Are you a giver through trauma? Which one are you? Can maladaptive attachment styles lead to transactional pouring into others? Take a second and absorb that question. There's four attachment styles. Three of them are maladaptive: anxious, preoccupied, dismissive, avoidant, right? And fearful, avoidant. Can maladaptive attachment styles lead to transactional pouring? Give it back. See, when you are wounded, your cup is half empty. You need what you gave back. But when you are on, as the Muslim would say, Adina Siratul Mustaqim, when you are on the straight and narrow pathway of the righteous who went before you, when you are on your way to healing, you start to tap into an infinite source. Many of us are pouring because we're really wanting approval, acknowledgement. We want to be seen as good people. We live in an amoral society, so everything is for sale, even your poor. I know you don't want to hear it put that way tonight. Huh? Listen, they say, oh no, but the Bible says use discernment. Discernment is only needed for the fearful. The fearless doesn't need to discern, especially in context of pouring. I'm pouring because pouring is part of my purpose. Pouring is part of who I am. Pouring is part of my journey to give back. Are you listening? If you're really a giver, you're not worried about what you're receiving. But our relationships are transactional, right? It is no measure of health to be fully integrated into a sick society. I know people don't want to hear it that way. Is discernment fear-based? What does it mean to pour into others from an ego/fear-based cup? True or false? When you start the healing process for yourself, you can access God's infinite cup from which you use to pour into others. I don't know if y'all, can you digest that? Are we ready to think broader? Let me read it again. True or false? Do you agree or disagree? When you start the healing process for yourself, you can access God's infinite cup from which you can use to pour into others. Why are you pouring from a cup that can be emptied? I hear it all the time. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I can't give no more. No, see, you were giving with the hope of acknowledgement. You were giving with the hope of approval. You were giving with the hope of you gonna thank me for this. But a true giver gives because they are connected to the infinite wellspring of love. So many people lack love. If you lack love, you should keep what's in your cup. Huh? So many people lack love. And if you lack love, keep what's in your cup, because you can't afford to waste a drop. I know you don't want to hear it put that way. Huh? Discernment. I need to discern. They done took it out of discernment. Oh my goodness. I need to make sure this is the right investment. I need to make sure this is the right person, because the last time I poured, it wasn't appreciated. But let me tell you, the giver doesn't need appreciation. A true giver. I'm not talking about a relationship broker, a relationship investor, right? I'm not talking about that person. That's a transactional person that needs some spiritual holes filled. Well, fill my hole up. So I'll give to you. That it's performative. It's an extension of people pleasing. Let me give so I can get covertly. You're a covert giver. Ooh, Lord, I know y'all not ready tonight. Can Can you pour into your significant other without the influence of your attachment style? They got these little fancy words. You know, they keep playing with words, right? Oh, I overpour. Really? Really? You overpour. Yeah, because I just give and give and give and nobody gives back because you're looking for what you can get back. It's not a gift, right? It's not a gift. Do you understand? We can't play with spiritual layaway, okay? I don't want to play spiritual layaway tonight. I don't want to do it, huh? Oh, I overpoured. Yeah, it's because you over expected. How about that? You overpoured because you over expected, right? They say, what is over expectation? You're expecting somebody to show up like you. Well, they didn't give it back to you. You know why? Because they're like you. You didn't give it in the first place. You loaned it. I know you don't want to hear me say it that way. You didn't give it from a pure heart. You loaned it. That's why you want it back. They ask him for the organs. The people in the chat room say, where the organs, Andy? They want the organs. Lord have mercy. We in here tonight. Can pouring into others become a way to avoid confronting your own vulnerabilities and insecurities? Are there cultural differences in how we pour into others and how it's perceived and practiced? How does the concept of pouring into others intersect with the idea of codependency in relationships? Can pouring into others be a form of self-sacrifice? You're a martyr now? Huh? You're going to martyr yourself, right? You want to get on the cross, huh? Jesus already did the work according to the word, so you want to take his place even though his place ain't up. It's not up for rent. Huh? Are y'all listening? How do social narratives about martyrdom and heroism influence our understanding or lack thereof of pouring into others? Can pouring into others be a way to fulfill our own need for significance or purpose? I feel like I have a place in the world. I feel like I'm accepted and wanted and desired. When was the last time you wanted you? Just you alone, by yourself, in all your spiritual nudity, flaws and all, blemishes and all. When was the last time you were content with being you? Oh no, you got a pantomime giving. Because really, you're investing. When I come forward, you know this is a national discussion and I want to talk to you about it. I want to know, can your cup be empty? Talk to me tonight.
The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings will disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA.
We good? Did I set it up right? Y'all got to get to the phone lines. I want to talk to you. Reggie got to get in here. All my people's got to get in here who got something to say. Talk to me. Was the setup correct? Was the setup online? Where's Nikki at? We need Nikki from the SIP. Huh? What up, Draco? You scrolled into a live radio show. Thank you, Nzenga. Blessings to everybody in the chat room. If you guys want to support, please go to my Cash App. Thank you, Brother Draco. Please go to my Cash App, drop a couple of twos and fews. Y'all know the routine. Moderators assemble. Give them the instructions. They can hit the super chat on the YouTube channel, or you can send it directly to my Cash App. But please show your love by hitting the like button. Support, support, support. We try to get people to support in mass during the breaks because that's when I can shout you out.
Helping to broaden your political and moral imagination with our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign for KBLA Talk 1580. Live in 30.
30 seconds. Call me now. Call me. Call me. Call me. Hey, Michael Bradfield, thank you for that 2 spot. Let's get them rolling. Let's get the Cash Apps popping. I think I got 3. I missed the first 2.
More. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ivory Henderson.
Hello. RC Blakes here. RC Blakes. I am so excited to be able to share with you again. We have a powerful discussion today. I was just sitting down and pondering the thoughts that I'm going to share with you today. And this is in reference to a strategy or method that a wise woman should employ when discerning if a man is right for her or not. You know, so often women get caught up in situations and scenarios where emotionally you get kind of carried away. Nobody's really ever sat you down to teach you how to discern a man, a good man from a bad man. And you make a lot of mistakes, and You find yourself leaping into situations long before you look into the situation. You leap before you look. And it's because nobody's taught you. Relationships have to be approached not emotionally, but cerebrally and spiritually. You have to approach relationships from your spirit, from your core, from your center, and from your mind. You have to really think your way into a relationship. Don't fall in love, but walk in love, walk into it. Discerning, as I teach in a lot of my different lessons and books and programs, asking the right questions and having certain expectations of yourself, holding yourself to a certain standard when embracing a relationship. So I call this, and this is something I promise, this is something the Holy Spirit just kind of gave me as I was really flying, I was traveling, and I thought to bring it and deliver it to you. I call it the LET method, the L-E-T, the LET method of discerning a man, the LET method. And that's an acronym. And LET stands for language, energy, and treatment. These three things must be scrutinized in any man that you would entertain as a potential relationship. This is why it is never wise to just jump off into something before you have done your due diligence in terms of discerning, in terms of scrutinizing. Scrutinizing, discerning his language, his energy, and analyzing his treatment of you.
You gonna say a couple things, or should I just go?
How many times have you known women that have
let me know when.
landed square in the middle of somebody's bed, created a sexual soul tie, gotten impregnated, and didn't even know who this person was? Well, why do women behave like that? Now, you have certain that want to push back and tell me that, it's women's liberation. That ain't no women's liberation. That's that's women's incarceration. I call it female slave conditioning. You're not liberated because you just lay your body down in the middle of somebody's bed you don't even know and have all of this sex and get all of these diseases and create all of these soul ties and have babies for somebody, and then after the fact you come to the counselor, to the police talking about he's a sociopath. Why didn't you know that before?
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm finna tear his ass up too. Everybody finna get it.
Here's the latest on the Black Information Network.
Everybody finna get it. Everybody about to get it. I'm coming. Hey, Gemini shit. I'm coming in like Kendrick. Bye-bye. First person shooter. I'm finna let off. Everybody about to get it. Everybody about to get it. And no disrespect to the elder. None whatsoever. No disrespect to the elder. I didn't say it. There was nothing wrong with what he said, but go off. I'm just here to come with a divergent perspective. Hey, we got a couple of cash apps. I want to shout them out, but they were happening during the show. I was trying to mumble them, but we appreciate all the gifts that you guys have for us. I'm so thankful that you guys are here, that you guys are supporting, that you guys are acknowledging the work. It's fine. It's fine. Everybody's opinion matters. It's fine. Just know that I'm a 10,000 degree triple stage darkness belt. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But I need you guys to understand something very important about these shows and the approach that I have. It's about broadening the perspective. Uh, we've had elders that have passed a financial baton, that have passed a religious baton, uh, that have passed all types of batons. But sometimes we got to stop the race and look at the condition of the baton and say, what is this? And it's no disrespect to the race that they've been running. Sometimes you got to get off the track and say, why am I even in this competition? But that requires a different perspective. Sometimes you have to step off the track and say, what is the purpose of running this? And where am I going? For what purpose? We got to get deeper. And that's what I'm going to do on this. And like I said, no disrespect to anybody. And uh, it's not about conversion or conformity. No, no, believe what you believe, hold on to what matters, right, to you. But at the same time, don't think, listen, don't think a stagnant truth can answer all of the questions of a dynamic life. L.S. Jefferson, thank you. Did you hear that? Don't think a stagnant truth can answer all the questions of a dynamic life. L.S. Jefferson, blessings, blessings, blessings. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that does it during the breaks. I'm going to try to my best to shout each and every one of y'all out. Y'all hit that Cash App, hit the Super Chat, whichever way is easier. Please continue to support the show. I appreciate y'all. Thankful. Let's see, where we at? Oh, we got 1 minute. Uh-huh. Peel the onion back on that one a little bit. Sometimes the truth for your ancestors, for those who preceded you, was true for them. Might not be true for you. Might not be true for your reality. Hmm? Let me see. Y'all think truth is not dynamic, but the truth is dynamic. Do you understand? Let me give you an example. God is the ultimate truth, but God is unfolding and enfolding in a dynamic world, in a dynamic reality. Sometimes certain people will get glimpses of God that is beyond this reality and thus can't be put into words. See, God fills up your reality and every other reality infinitely, forever and ever and ever. So, what might have been true for them might not be true for you. Yeah, I know y'all ain't ready tonight.
might seem strange, but let me know if I'm out of protocol. Stepping to you this way. See, I've been watching you for a while, and I just gotta let you know that I'm really feeling your style. 'Cause I had to know your name and leave you with my number, and I hope that you would call me someday. If you want, you can give me yours too. If you don't, well, I ain't mad at you. We can still be cool, 'cause I'm pressure. Just can't stop thinking about you. You ain't even real. Gotta be my girlfriend. I just wanna know. Maybe sometime we can move on. Hang out, just then I'm surprised that you called. 'Cause the way you walk away.
Ladies and gentlemen, Music Soul Child is my co-host tonight. We on fire tonight. Y'all need to understand something right now. We played the clip from the pastor. What was my pastor's name? And let me tell y'all something about my elders. I respect my elders. Oh, I do. But that doesn't necessarily mean I agree with everything they say. R.C. Blake, he said some profound things. Language, energy, and what else, ladies and gentlemen? Were y'all listening? Language, energy, and treatment. Now, before we get into those three, discern, right? Let's look at the root of the word. Perceive or recognize the difference or distinguish between two things or more. Also, distinguish as an object with the eyes. See distinctly. Behold. Okay? You can't see a thing as it is with the filter or through the filter of unhealed wounds. So your discernment for most people is off. Because remember, where there is wanting, there are wounds. Come on now. Where there is a hunger and a desire and I need this and I deserve and this is supposed to happen and the way it's supposed, something hasn't been healed. Do you see? So if you're looking, right, or trying to discern through a forlorn spirit, through a desire and a wish to move away from where you are currently, meaning, oh, I just want better. You've already told the universe that you don't have what you want. Instead of saying, I am what I want. Do you understand? It's hard to see through a wound. It's hard to see who a person actually is through a wound. Back to the great Krishnamurti. The highest form of intelligence is to be able to observe without judgment. See, your wound is the judge. This ain't right for us. This looked like the last situation. Do you see how discernment can be contaminated? Do you understand? So I understand Pastor RC. I understand what he's saying. He said language, energy, right? And treatment. All those things can be mastered. Pimps master the language. The energy is confidence. Well, the confidence, what is a confidence man is what they used to call him, was a hustler. Somebody who would trick you, somebody who would fool you because they got confidence, right? And then treatment. Come on now. That's where con man comes from. Say, come on now. And then treatment. I always tell women, behavior is man's most effective lie. Men don't speak as many words as women. When a woman get a man talking honestly and openly, that's when he's at his most vulnerable. Men lie through behavior. I'm going to do what I think you want me to do. And by doing what you want, you're going to ascribe or attribute some kind of quality to me. You know, he pulled out my chair. You know, he picked up the tab. I never pick up the tab when I'm with him. You know, he bought me this. You know, he recognized that I hadn't made it to the grocery store yet, and he ordered some groceries, and they was right while he was sitting on the couch. I didn't even talk to him about it. Do you understand? Many men have mastered all three in the service of manipulation. So, no disrespect to the elder. I do believe a lot of what he said was true. But I'm telling you, we think people doing things for us is pouring into us. How can you elevate my soul when it's at its lowest point? And more importantly, what do I owe you for that? And what do you want as recompense? Do you want me to pay you back? What could I pay you back for that if you knew how to do that? Do you see how we turn relationships into this superficial interaction? Remember I was there? Remember I had your back? Listen, if you got to ask somebody to, let me say it another way. My godmother told me you can't teach nobody how to love you. Either they love or they don't. The concept of pouring into others often emerges as a noble act of selflessness and generosity. However, beneath the surface lies a controversial truth. Many individuals pour from a place of unresolved internal pain and selfish need. Right? On tonight's topic, we're going to delve into the complexities of the unconditional pour, revealing how unrequited hurts shape our relational dynamics and limit our capacity for true selflessness. At the heart of the matter lies the distinction between pouring into someone and projecting onto them. While the former stems from genuine care and compassion and empathy, the latter arises from our own unresolved issues and emotional baggage. Revealing how unrequited hurts shape that is what we're here to do. Don't pour from your half full cup, your half empty cup, family. You ain't got it to give. The truth of you should emerge in that moment. When I come forward, we're going to get to the phone lines and talk to the family about tonight's topic. Let's go.
Is it good to you? More voice of reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
KLA, be an eco-friendly hero. Join LADWP's Power Savers program.
Nzinga, that is the purpose of the show, to not expect anything back. And if you truly don't expect anything back, right? I'm just trying to set up the topic. And if you truly don't want anything back, you're not going to feel no type of way from pouring. Mr. Zoe, what did you say? You know you ain't going to them phone calls. Yes, I am. Y'all right there. Yes, I am. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit that like. Like it up, like it up, like it up. Now I'm gonna ask again. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Do you understand conceptually what I'm laying down? At what point in life did I realize what, Truemonger? Tell me, True. Thank you, Margaret. What is that, Marguerite? Thank you. I'm trying. Of course. True hustle. Of course. Absolutely. I just need y'all to understand this is not your typical take on this. I feel like we've all been operating from the elder's point of view, at least trying. Dynamic truth feels more. Come on! Step outside your norm for once. Kendra got me feeling like battling. Well, you know I'm Gemini, so at your own risk.
I do have a rule that I have learned and that I believe, and that is that the stronger the resistance that you feel, the more important it is that you do that, whatever it is you.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that more, because that's really powerful.
We imagine that this is our dream, our novel, our startup, or whatever it is. The dream is some sort of unfolding of who you are, revealing like a flower blooming, revealing what's there. And we set it out in the sunshine on a field or a flat thing like this. Immediately, a shadow is going to fall from this thing. Mm-hmm. This is the dream, and resistance is the shadow. So the shadow is exactly proportionate to the dream, so that if it's a big dream, it's going to be a big shadow. So, in other words, more resistance I feel to something, the more certain I can be that there's a big dream there and that I've got to do it. Whatever the pain is, that's life right to get to there.
Boy, we on fire tonight. Welcome to the Voice of Reason. Back in the building. We own it right now. KBLA Talk 1580. And I'm really trying to challenge you guys on this selfish pouring we do. The great Krishnamurti, he said, you see, if you try to do something about not being self-centered, you are being self-centered. You understand that? If you say, I must not be selfish, the very statement of that contains selfishness. Because you want to be different from being selfish. And that very want creates another form of selfishness. See, many of us don't know how to give, right? Without the self saying, do you know the value of what you gave that person? Do they? You shouldn't give to somebody that doesn't respect what you gave. Do you see the toxicity in the position of it? I'm not asking you to go out and pour into any and everybody, right? But I believe in divine fine tuning. I believe God is always in control. And sometimes some of you need a soul tie to take you on a journey within self. What do you think the purpose of relationship is for? It is to reveal you to you. A lot of my elders and a lot of these people in the pulpit are preaching from a space of trying to get you to avoid hurt. But hurt is a conduit to growth. Hurt is a conduit to forgiveness. Hurt is a conduit to your own dark night of the soul, your own elevation. Trying to get you to avoid certain pit stops. Listen, if you learn the lesson, great. If you've learned it, you should be able to discern it. Somebody meme that. If you learned it, you should be able to discern it. But if you haven't learned it, maybe you got to go through it in order to define it. See, we live in a society where I don't want no pain. I don't want no struggles, no troubles, no disappointment, no dissatisfaction. The great Krishnamurti said, we are driven by selfishness. Huh? We are driven by selfish desires. I need somebody to show up for me, right? But do we really want to show up for other people? Do we want to become what we require of others? Many of your pouring is really an investment. Krishnamurti said most human beings are selfish. They are not conscious of their own selfishness. It is the way of their life. And if one is aware that one is selfish, one hides it very carefully and conforms to the pattern of society, which is essentially selfish. The selfish mind is very cunning. Either it is brutally, listen, are y'all listening to this? Are y'all listening to the great Krishnamurti? The selfish mind is very cunning. Either it is brutally and openly selfish, or it takes the shape of many other forms. So I'm going to give because I really want the return. Listen, when you start to understand the purpose of spirituality, which is a walk with God, which is a communion of sorts, the word communion means union, one with source. That's where you should be giving from. That's where you should be pouring from. But many are pouring from half full cups from wounds that haven't been nurtured, that haven't been embraced and loved on. Tell me I'm lying. Let's get our caller in here. Attila, Houston, Texas. It's your time to shine. Talk to me.
Lord, I thought I'd never get on this line. I've been stretching and pressing through the wilderness for 40 years.
What are your thoughts?
Okay.
Talk to me.
So I feel better now that we had our conversation earlier today. I understand it a little bit better. I want to pose a possibility. What if neither side is wrong?
What if what?
What if neither side is wrong?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So perhaps let those that are transactional, so to speak, as you put it, or look for a return on their investment, be with those who look for a return on their investment. Let me tell you why. We just talked about neurodivergence. If someone is autistic, they don't understand the concepts that you're talking about. That's completely foreign to them because they're very literal. If you said you're going to do something, they're going to take you at your word and be like, this person is going to do it. And so, to me, if that's how your mind works, that's how your brain is wired, trans the trauma. What's wrong with letting someone keep that and finding someone who actually can unconditionally give to you? And I think if you're having trouble in that department, perhaps you haven't unconditionally given to yourself first.
Mm-hmm. Which part of you? No. Well, no. Which part of you is asking for asylum in heaven?
I don't get it. What do you mean?
Meaning, the whole book, everybody book, whatever book it is, the Quran, the Injil, the Zubur, whatever book it is, the Torah, the Tanakh, all these books are supposed to be a guideway to somewhere, right?
Sure.
So you want to, so you want your wound to have asylum in heaven? Sure. Let's. That's what I'm comfortable with, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Sure, let's make a safe space for that, or let's heal. Do you get what I'm saying?
I think it's up to that individual.
Absolutely.
I don't always feel like it's based on wounds, though. I mean, I think people just have different ways of operating, and perhaps we need to just allow that. I do think that the majority of us speak from wounds, and it does come from a space of fear. I do not feel like that's the case for every person.
Please stay with me, Attila. We coming forward. But guess what? When we come full circle, we coming back to Attila. Let's get it. I love it. Hey, this good. People will be washing their life, fucking folks over because they think heaven is somewhere else. Good. Good game, Attila. We love it. Oh, Lord. Dizzle drizzle? What? I think we be trying to hold on. I don't see, and I'm saying it to y'all. I'm not saying it on the air. But I don't see this, whatever this, when I'm talking about the wounds, right? I see these as spiritual opportunities. Wounds are spiritual opportunities to me. I don't see that as the same as, say, neurodivergence. I don't. Right? But I do see wounds as a spiritual opportunity. And maybe neurodivergence is a spiritual opportunity. Like, say, if you're talking about somebody with schizophrenia or, somebody splitting, maybe it is. Maybe it's all a spiritual opportunity. But I do believe a spiritual opportunity should be taken. Like, we shouldn't look at what I'm saying as like a fractured piece of society that we have to learn tolerance for. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, oh, let's include like an inclusive thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think that's why you incarnate in physical form on planet Earth. I think you incarnate to work out that spiritual work, to work that out. That's what I think. And based on my, years of study, that has been a common theme, a recurring theme. Like, you're here to figure this out. You're not here to be coddled by this reality. You're here to be pressured and pressed into this understanding. Life has a way of doing it.
If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate?
I don't know if we could speak on that.
What are your
Maybe.
turn-offs?
I love it though. Let's go.
Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this is gonna be crazy. How about the heavy stuff? The child wasn't here, and you
Class is in session. You can stop guessing.
How is that right? Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions.
And that first hour flew. No, that's just who gets through. That doesn't mean everybody can't aspire to that. That's just who actually does it. But everybody has an opportunity to do it. This is why they have to keep coming back.
How do you write women so well?
So Williams.
I love it.
And accountability. The voice of reason.
I've dealt with lots of people who have anxiety disorders, you know. And one thing about people who have anxiety disorders is they are not mysterious to me. It's no problem for me to understand why people have anxiety disorders, or why they're depressed, or why they have substance use problems. The mystery to me is always why people don't have all of those things at once, because everybody has a reason to be anxious. In fact, we have the ultimate reason to be anxious because we know that we're vulnerable and we know that we're going to die. And how you can not be anxious under those circumstances is a great mystery. It's a massive mystery. And the same thing applies with regards to depression. And then the same thing applies to some degree with regards to drug and alcohol abuse. As I said last week, there's plenty of reasons to drown your consciousness in alcohol, that's for sure. We could refer to the aforementioned anxiety and depression, not least. And the sorts of drugs that people are prone to take are chemicals that take the affective edge off the tragedy of life. So back to the issue of fear. Abraham is self-conscious, that's what this commentary says, but the thing is he moves forward despite that. He's self-conscious and he knows the danger, but he moves forward despite that. And that's actually the appropriate response in the face of actual non-naive understanding of what constitutes life. Like if you're naive and you move forward, it's like, well, what the hell do you know? You know, there's no courage in naivety because you don't know what there is to stop you. You don't know what dangers you might apprehend, but to be aware of what it is that your problem is. So to be alert existentially, let's say, or to be fully self-conscious means that you're perfectly aware of your limitations and how you might be hurt. And then to make the decision to move forward into the unknown and the land of the stranger. Anyways, I would say that's one of the secrets to a good life. And I can say that really without fear of contradiction, I would say, because the clinical literature on this is very, very, very clear. What you do with people who are afraid and to some degree depressed, but certainly anxious, is you lay out what they're anxious about, first of all, in detail. What is it that you're afraid of? What might happen? And then you decompose it into small problems, hypothetically manageable problems, and then you have the person expose themselves to the thing that they're afraid of, and what happens isn't that they get less afraid. That isn't what the clinical literature indicates exactly. What happens instead is they get braver. And that's not the same thing, right? Because if you get less afraid, it's like, well, the world isn't as dangerous as I thought it was, you know, silly me. If you get braver, that's not what happens. What happens is, yeah, the damn world's just as dangerous as I thought, or maybe it's even more dangerous than I thought, but it turns out that there's something in me that responds to taking that on as a voluntary challenge and grows and thrives as a consequence. And there's no doubt about this. Even the psychophysiological findings are quite clear. If you impose a stressor on two groups of people, and on one group the stressor is imposed involuntarily, and on the other group the stressor is picked up voluntarily, the people who pick up the stressor voluntarily use a whole different psychophysiological system to deal with it. They use the system that's associated with approach and challenge, and not the system that's associated with defensive aggression and withdrawal.
Oh, the voice of reason. Hey, Dr. Jordan Peterson not playing with y'all today. If you're just tuning in to hour number 2, man, we're talking about pouring into people and discernment. And my argument is that if you're not actively trying to heal your relationship with yourself, if you're not actively trying to, address what may be your internal problem, you're not going to be able to pour into someone. You're not going to be able to discern whether or not you should pour into someone. And you might run the risk of thinking your pour is a bi-directional investment. I pour into you, you pour into me. Do you guys remember the early shows of The Voice of Reason when I talked about reciprocity? And I talked about an organic form of reciprocity, not one that is rooted, not an anticipatory reciprocity, right? I did this, so now you. No, it's just organic reciprocity. But somebody who is not healed, they will have an expectation for repayment. Why? Because their cup from which they poured from is half empty. The act of pouring into each other is often perceived as a bi-directional relationship investment. Yet the reality is far more nuanced. In relationships, the exchange of emotional support, time, and energy should ideally flow freely without expectation of some type of forced reciprocity. However, when our giving is contingent upon receiving a particular outcome or guarantee, the transactional nature of the pour becomes evident. Consider the individuals in your lives. Are they pouring into your cup or are they draining it? While genuine relationships mature and replenish us, those rooted in unmet needs and expectations often leave us feeling depleted. It is crucial to discern whether our interactions stem from a place of genuine connection or a desire for validation and fulfillment. Listen, if you're full of the grace of God, full of a consciousness that says anything is possible, I can do all things through the God that flows through me. If your consciousness is at that level or you're working towards that level, you understand you're dealing with human beings and they may not be able to pay you back when you pour into them. So why would you pour from an empty cup of your own? I want to know. Let's get it, Atala. Get back in here.
Uncle Joe. Okay.
Let's go.
So, as a former people pleaser, initially I was like, what is this man talking about? So I had to call you and figure out what the heck you were talking about. But I want to say I actually completely agree with everything you're saying. I just kind of wanted to challenge certain things that
that's all right.
Overlooked. I think part of the reason why, again, a lot of this is just hard for people to grapple with is because it starts with self. How often are you pouring into your own cup? Like, how many times do I ask you, did you get rest? Pretty much every day.
Right.
So if your daily life is not set up for you to pour into yourself, of course you're not going to be able to pour into other people, but we do it anyway. I would say that when you are, as the church would say, filled with the Holy Spirit, meaning that you're pouring from the source that is, you don't really tend to get as tired as fast. You have more patience for people. But I think, again, a lot of this is pulling from self. You have more patience for yourself. And so, again, if that's not present, there really is nothing else you're going to be able to do. But I still feel like, at the end of the day,
keep going.
People have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Free will.
On whether or not they want to take that narrow road towards healing. The eightfold path towards healing, whatever you want to call it. I think everyone has a choice in whether or not they want to do that. And so with you having that martyr complex, right, in terms of the human design piece, perhaps the energy that you're focusing is more so on those that deplete rather than those that fill. because I think that when you have a mission and you have, an anointing, I do believe that the Most High sends you people that are, in a sense, helpers, right? So I don't always think that it's just us filling our own cup or it's just spirit filling our own cup. I believe people can fill you up too. Mm-hmm. And so maybe the problem with a lot of this and the reason why people have such an angst is because they are knowingly pouring into people's cups that are broken, knowingly pouring into risk and to people that perhaps are, how do I say this, lesser equals. I don't know how to put that without it sounding kind of rude and crass.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't. You just can't. Do you see? There is a movement to avoid the fall. But the fall is inextricably tied to the ascension.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. That's where we get.
I mean, you're going to fall several times. Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We have been taught to fear the fall. We think we could, like the brother R.C. Blake was saying, like, hey, you have to not use your emotions and you got to think about it. You can think all you want and still be fooled.
Absolutely. And there's a lesson in that. There's a lesson in that. I say come what may. So when you're taking your decisions as a full, able-bodied human being who is practicing your free will, then whatever comes with that, you have to learn how to take that on. I think that's something that we could all do and learn, but at the same time, then I can't be a victim. So
But that's why, but Attila, that's why I say you can't discern through fear.
Right.
Now let's just be honest. How many women are out there? And I'm not saying brothers aren't in fear too, but how many women out there are trying to discern through fear?
I would say good 98, 99.
I was
Okay.
Fear sitting right there on their shoulder, like, girl.
But let me speak for my sisters, though. We have a safety component when it comes to these dynamics, too. Like, let's not forget, sisters are popping up missing everywhere. Body parts being found. So I think that there is a balance between common sense and wounds.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Attila, I love it. Guess what you just did, Attila?
Right, Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building. We love it when folk call in from all over the country. Listen, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call us. 1-800-920-1580. Do I got time? I got time in Zinga, Pensacola, Florida. Get in here.
Hey, good evening.
Hey.
Show, Mr. Bell.
I think so.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
So, I want to say that the women that you talked about, you were saying that they're discerning through fear. I don't think that's discernment. I think it's anxiety. When it's discernment, it's gentle, and it's normally coming from the abdomen. When it's anything else, when it's coming from the chest and anywhere else, that's not discernment. That's not the voice of God. For me, my gut is God. You know, when you get that little gentle nudge. Also, I feel like your discernment lets you know when something is organic, when it's natural. When it's anything else, your spidey senses go up. Now, the reason why we have all these angry people with microphones and all this other stuff is because they ignored the discernment, which is the first line of defense. Then it's the spidey sense. Then it's the red flag. And you ignored all that. And now it's, why am I'm pouring into them and they're not pouring into me? Probably because you shouldn't have been being bothered with that person. You knew they were possibly a taker or a user, but you felt altruistic, you felt, like you just wanted to help. And now you're in a place where you're drained, you're broken, you're bruised, and now you want to kind of take it out on the world when really the discernment was there to tell you danger, Will Rogers. It's danger.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I look at it. And I think that you can be empty, but when you've been somewhere and you can see somebody going where you're going, about to go through what you're going through, you can kind of pour into them, and it's like Pac-Man in the power pellets, because you inadvertently sometimes preaching to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've been there when maybe I didn't have enough to give, but I saw somebody maybe at a lower point than me, and not on some I'm looking down on them. I just can see, and so in that, maybe I felt some empathy and wanted to give a word, and in that I was also preaching to myself as well. So I think discernment. I don't think discernment is fear. I think discernment is God. And like I said, whenever I went against my discernment, whenever I went against my intuition, because I'm a very good judge of character. And like I said before, maybe I was born with it, maybe it's my trauma, and it probably is more likely my trauma. But I feel like I'm a very good judge of character. And when I went against it and said, I'm gonna give them a chance anyway. They remind me of Chick-fil-A. But then I came to find out they put antibiotics in the meat. That was my fault. I like McDonald's people. Maybe it's not the best, but what you see is what you get, and they try to have healthier options. They trying to do the work and they trying to get better, but they're not fake, and it is what you get. And so that's all I had to say, Mr.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the phone calls. Get in here. Talk to me. Verily, verily, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. Psalms chapter 82, verse 6, and I have said, ye are sons of God, yet ye are still men. You will fall like one of the princes. We are sons of God, sons and daughters of God. I'm telling you, there is a pipeline from you to God that allows you to pour in a way that you won't feel fatigue. I believe when you pour from your unhealed self, you're going to get tired because you don't really have it to give. When I come forward, I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's keep it cooking. Good stuff. Nzinga. I love it. I love it. Y'all cooking. I think a lot of y'all scared to have this conversation though. Y'all holding on to your old way. Y'all making all types of concessions for anxiety. You're making all types of concessions for fear. I'm telling you, we choose from fear. We choose from hurt. I didn't point out anybody in particular. I didn't say Attila. I'm saying when I'm talking to the masses, I'm speaking in a general sense. Most people are choosing from that space. There is a profound fear. Right? You can't be a commoner in the rest of your life and a prayer warrior just in your closet. You can't. Many people know how to pray because they've been taught. But many people are fearful of being the prayer. How are people going to look at me? How are people going to accept me? I'm speaking of something higher, connecting to an unending source. Twan, El Sun Bay.
Church opened its doors in 2001.
What up?
Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Thea Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free
Twan El Son Bay, you don't want to have this conversation with me. We're not talking about dogma. We're not talking about scripture and dogma. We're not talking about that. We might use a scripture to make a point, but we're not talking about. Come on, man.
And 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit
Jumpers.
That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from.
Nah, it's not a religion. It's not religion show. No.
More. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
I was told the true definition of a man was to never cry, work till you tired, got to provide. Always be the rock for my fam, protect them by all means. Give you the things that you need, baby. Our relationship is suffering, gonna give you what I never had. Say I don't know how to love you, babe. Well, I say show me the way. I keep my feelings deep inside, I handle them with my pride. I'm trying desperately, baby, to see how we love. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Teach me how to love it. How I can get my emotions involved. And teach me, show me how to love. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Teach me how to love. How I can get my emotions. If you think of the human psyche, we have the ego in the middle of a greater thing we would call the self. And the self contains all the aspects of the unconscious. The hero's journey, the archetypes, all of the intuitive stuff, right? The ego, which is the part that identifies with this body, wants to be in control. When you're trying to tap into that greater
Pause.
intelligence.
Many of us are pouring into others from that center. I want to start this video over from the top because he just said it. I'm trying to push you guys beyond. You got to unlearn what you learned in order to understand what we're talking about tonight. Many of us pour into others from a disjointed, broken space. Do you understand? That's where we're pouring from. And that's why there's a demand to be paid back for what it's an investment. Let me do it another way. And I'm gonna go to that clip in a second. Krishnamurti, the more you know yourself, the more clarity there is. Self-knowledge has no end. You don't come to an achievement. You don't come to a conclusion. It is an endless river. Is he not describing God as self-knowledge? Is that not in alignment with Psalms chapter 82, verse 6? And I have said ye are gods. Is that not in alignment with John chapter 1, verses 1 through 5? It is the light that shineth in the darkness, that the darkness comprehendeth not. I'm asking you to pour from that space. But you can't, listen, all the shows we've done, the inner child, narcissism, self-love deficient, right? The codependent, all these things, these layers, right? How many of us are pouring from that space? If you're pouring from that space, you are wanting repayment. It is a waste of time for you to pour. I'm trying to get y'all to understand that. Y'all want to hold on to the old way. Let the old way go. You can't pour until you're in communion with God. Whatever your religion, whatever your belief system, you can't pour until you're in communion with God. That's why you're going to feel slighted. Dr. David R. Hawkins, author of Power versus Force, The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior, labeled it slight collecting. You're in your relationship keeping a tally. I did this. This was done. This was not acknowledged. This wasn't approved. This wasn't appreciated. Worthiness wounds, self-esteem, self-worth, happiness, the ideation that happiness comes from others. All of this is actually in what you're pouring into other people until it's reconciled. The more you know yourself, the more clarity there is. Self-knowledge has no end. You don't come to an achievement. You don't come to a conclusion. It is an endless river. Nobody's pouring from an endless river because your pour isn't connected to God. This is why I say discernment for most people is fear-based, just like trust and loyalty. That's why trust and loyalty becomes the two pillars, right? Boaz and what was the other one? Boaz and who else? The two pillars. I done forgot the names. Y'all know the names. That's why they become the two pillars in your life. If I'm going to be in a relationship, loyalty is number one. Trust is number, like, these are fear-based movements. I'm sorry. Andy is telling me, I got time, Andy? No, I ain't got time. When I come forward, boy, I'm going back to the phone lines. When I go back to the phone lines, y'all better be ready to have this discussion. You hear me? That's it. Is it Boaz and Joshin? My bad. I forgot. The two pillars. He is on fire tonight.
Hey, John, you got your check?
No? No. Why? What happened?
But Rob, I guess he's missing his check. And he said he reached out to Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah was like, she put all the checks up in there. She was like, somebody might have gotten it.
I didn't get mine.
Oh, you didn't go? Okay.
No. What I'm saying is, that's not the point I'm trying to make, True Monger. I'm saying, at what point do we evolve to a state where trust doesn't matter? Trust is fear. If you're sitting with a psychiatrist or a psychologist and they say, oh, you have anxiety, that's not a good thing. True Monger, you're speaking 99% of everybody. That makes sense. That's a great question. How many people you got a relationship with you don't trust? We live in a toxic world. It makes sense. But that's what I'm saying. This is a conversation about having more, about doing different, about evolving to a place where trust doesn't matter. Okay. That's difficult as hell when it comes to people. Is it difficult as hell when it comes to a person? Y'all got Krishnamurti would say it differently. He say, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to change the world. He'll say, change yourself.
I'd be hot too. I mean,
Change yourself. I know you don't know. That's why I'm having the conversation. Right? I don't know is probably one of the greatest answers anybody could ever give me, because what it says is I'm outside of my comfort zone. I'm outside of what I think I know. That's why this is an important conversation to have. Like, we really want that other level, right? We really want that sublime, supreme level. But when you start peeling back, it's almost like it's almost like I want to I want to venture out into outer space and see other worlds. And when you get your ass out there, you be like, what the fuck? When you start to break away from the known, that's what freedom from the known meant. Right? What known? Your known. See? That's where it happens. Attila said, man, I went to another realm in meditation and was freaked out. That's what I'm talking about. Krishnamurti called it choiceless awareness. You know what another word he used for it? And he talking about communion with God. You know what else he used? Suchness. A suchness. What the fuck? Suchness. I don't know, Zoe. I've been scared this long. I might as well. I got to do some shit that just makes sure that, I don't know. I don't know about that. I know you don't. And I'm trying to push your ass off the edge. Zen Buddhism. Leap. And then the net will appear. Don't wait for the net to appear. Leap. Then the net will appear. I'm not leaping when I can't see or discern if there's a net or not. Does that make sense? This shit fire, y'all. And this show went fast as hell. Listen, I'm hella dumb. I just let my ego operate my life and asked my sister to take responsibility for her behavior and ended up in a journey of crazy accusations and didn't listen to the show. Comfort zones must be left behind. Comfort is the known. Uncomfortability implies adjustment. I'm uncomfortable. What do we do when we're uncomfortable? We adjust. We move. We shift. We try things. We
heard a lot of experts say that fear isn't real. That is such a bunch of baloney. Fear is so real. In fact, there are probably things that you're afraid of doing right now in your life, in your relationships, at work. And the fact that you're afraid, that's robbing you of all of the experiences that you want to have in your life. I mean, if you're afraid to fly, that's going to limit your ability to travel and see the world or go visit friends. If you're afraid of public speaking, that's going to really limit your ability to express yourself and share your ideas. If you're afraid of talking to your boss or asking for a raise, that directly impacts how much money you make. Well, what if you are dreaming of starting a business, or you've already started a new business, but you're afraid to talk to people and you're afraid to share your business with people? I mean, fear is something that stops us all. And that's why I'm here to talk to you, because it doesn't have to. Fear is real, but I am going to share a secret weapon that I have used for years to beat every single fear that used to stop me. Now, first, before we get into this secret weapon, I just want to cover a few facts about fear, what it is, what it isn't, and some things that you may not know about fear. So first thing, fear is a physical state in your body that is exactly the same as excitement. Let me say that again. Fear and excitement are the exact same physical state. Your heart races. You might sweat a little bit. You might feel tightening in your chest. You might feel a pit in your stomach. You have a surge of cortisol. It's basically the way that your body goes into a hyper-aware state because it's readying for action. Now, what's the difference between fear and excitement? Really simple. The only difference between fear and excitement is what your brain is doing as your body is all agitated. If you're excited, your brain's going, oh, wow, this is going to be so cool to ride this roller coaster. If you're afraid, your brain's going, no way, there's no way I'm doing that. This is dangerous. Get out of there. Don't do that. It's saying something different. So what's critical about understanding this is that we're going to use the fact that your mind is either working for you for excitement or against you with fear to your advantage. I'll tell you about it in just a minute, how you're going to do that. Second thing I want you to understand is that you may have heard the advice, feel the fear and do it anyway. You may have heard the advice, oh, just try to calm down. Think positive thoughts. It doesn't work, does it? And there's a reason why it doesn't work. So let's go back to fact number one. When you're afraid, your body's in a state of arousal and agitation, and your heart is racing, and you're all like amped up, and you're hyper aware of what's going on, and you're freaking out a little bit. What is it like when you're calm? You just kind of chill, right? You got like this low arousal state. Very, very difficult to go from a state of agitation and being all jacked up and excited and weirded out to a kind of state. It doesn't work. It's like trying to stop a train by throwing a boulder on the tracks. It's going to make the train jump off the tracks. It's going to cause a disaster. In fact, they've proven in research that when you try to ignore your fears, it actually makes them worse. And they've also proven in research that positive thinking alone also can make your fears worse. So, what do you do? What do you do when you're about to go talk to your boss and you feel afraid? What do you do when you have to get on a plane and you're actually terrified of flying? What do you do if you got to give a presentation and you are afraid of public speaking? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to use a strategy, the same one that I use, that has helped me beat every single fear and turned me into somebody that is terrific when it comes to a high-stress situation. This is how you do it. You're going to use my 5-second rule in combination with what I call an anchor thought, and that is going to reframe what your mind is doing so that your mind goes from feeling agitation and making you afraid to reframing it from agitation to excitement. It works like magic. Now, I have used this technique for years, literally for years, and
Man, Mel is cooking. Hey, the voice of reason is on fire tonight. Hey, listen, I'm going to push you to think differently. We got to think differently. Relationships have to be different. Please do not pour from a cup that is riddled with fear. Reframe it, as Mel said, right? How do you reframe fear? When was the last time you were able to look at your fear without judgment? Huh? Even your fear is subject to your criticism, to your judgment, to you're appalled by it. We got callers on the line. I want to get everybody in here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Who's been on the longest? Tori, Louisiana. Tori, get in here.
Hello, hey.
Hey, how are you? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
This is an awesome topic, first and foremost. To make a long story short, when it comes down to discernment and fear, I was recently in a situation where, saying if it's too good to be true, then it's probably too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that way, and the person that I was dealing with said, "Pray and ask God for discernment to make sure this situation is for you," type of, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to do that, even though I had fear. I decided to go ahead on and pray about it. And the moment I let my guard down, seemed like it was the moment that the guy ended up putting his guard up. It was like a real weird situation. And in the end of all of the praying, because this is the first time that I ever brought God into a situation with any guy that I've ever dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, it all basically did not work out. So it made me start questioning, am I praying right? Is it something about me? What is it about me? It brought me down, to make me start feeling like, well, am I not worthy? And things of that nature, to just kind of make a long story short. So I guess what I'm trying to say without saying is maybe praying for discernment in the midst of fear, maybe that isn't a good thing. I don't know.
Ooh, Tori, are you saying your fear crept into your prayer and maybe potentially contaminated it? Is that...
It's possible. I mean, maybe it is possible, and maybe that person saw that at the same time because he knew that I was fearful about the situation, and maybe because, dealing with different people and in the process of dealing with different people, and then you finally find, or I think you have found someone that you really are connected with. You all can talk about God and stuff like that, and then it doesn't work out, and the person just kind of let it go. You know how a person just kind of ease off without saying anything, and then they come up with all these excuses like, well, at this point I'm working on me, or he just like, well, I feel like you have a great personality, but I just don't see what I need in you, but you're everything I want. And I'm like, wow, I'm what you want, but I'm not what you need. It's just a crazy situation.
Listen here, Tori, I swear, I so appreciate you calling and sharing that with me, because that's what I was talking about. You can't discern clearly, to me, where there is fear. And I'm saying, if you're broken and unhealed, yes, you can call on God for help. You can call on God for guidance. You can call on God for healing. But I think the discerning piece, you might want to take a step back, because that is to see things clearly. And I think sometimes it's very difficult to see through our pain, to see through our fear. That's all I'm saying. But I appreciate it, Tori. I appreciate the call. Thank you for bringing Louisiana in the building. What say ye hustle when we come forward? Miami, Florida. Florida water. Hustle about to get in here. You already know what it is. Let's get it.
combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates.
What leaves so much to be desired? You got the answers you needed, but no, it's not solely on you. No, not at all. However, she recognized her part in it, I think. Definitely not solely on her, but she recognized her part in it. And I think that's what she was talking about. Because she did say she did not know why or how his guard went up. I think she was only speaking from where she was. She was basically saying, when I was ready and did this, soon as I began to do this, his guard went up. She's not responsible for how he responds. I think she was talking about herself.
It's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right.
You guys have done an amazing job on the likes. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for supporting tonight. This is really good.
Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.
Deal with your darkness and bullshit so your perspective shifts into an open-minded one. Yeah. This is no better. Only someone to repair, enable, disguise. Or there is no better. Only someone to repair, enable, disguise. Push and pull. I love it. I agree, Unc. I was encouraging her not to down herself. Absolutely. But I will say that there's a great deal of empowerment in her saying, this may have been me. Many years ago, I had a sister on my show named Veronica Conway, and she was talking about writing your business plan. And she said, if there is fear in your consciousness while you're writing your business plan, you will be writing fear into the business plan. Thus, you will be writing failure into the business plan.
Line of 20, last clip.
No clip.
No clip.
Yep. Cash Mob creator. She used to say it all the time. Cash Mob, Zoe Williams, support, support.
More. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. Yeah, my playlist is my co-host, Music Soul Child. His playlist is highly underrated. He's got slappers. Tonight's topic has been a slapper too, man. Heavy stuff. People are sharing from all over the country. Let's get them in here. We got Hustle from Miami, Florida. Hustle, get in here, man. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
What's up, brother Zoom?
How are you, good brother?
I'm doing well, man. So it's been a while since we did this.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna start off here. I believe what you've been speaking about tonight is not pouring, but overflowing. Pouring would indicate that we are losing something as we are giving. Overflowing is when we are filled and we are sharing with anything around us.
I love it. I love it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
So we're gonna start there. Now that's the flower. Now I gotta hit you with the heat.
Come on.
I would argue that we should focus more on transaction since we are living in a world of transaction. In so much as when you consider investments, you don't just hope things go well. You consider the environment, the landscape, circumstances, history, future projections, and you move accordingly. With yourself, I do believe you should try to live unconditionally. But with the world around us, transaction isn't a bad thing. I looked up the definition.
Tell me.
It is an exchange between people.
What's the going rate for empathy?
Well, it depends on how much empathy means to you and how much empathy means to them.
But the reason why I asked that satirical question is because the things that really matter can't be quantified in terms of value. It's priceless stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like presence is priceless, right? Emotional support, psychological support. These things are priceless. Like I said, empathy, compassion, consideration, collaboration, cooperation. These are priceless things, especially when they're not performative, when they're actually real and true. Anything that has deep meaning, I think it transcends value. So, and I understand what you mean by transaction, right? It's an exchange. I get that. And I'm 100% in alignment with what you're saying. But when we're dealing with spirit, we're not dealing with expectation. We're dealing with divine design. We're dealing with what I would call, like we mentioned earlier in the show, organic reciprocity, not something that is owed to you because it was given to you. Does that make sense?
Sure. Can I add on to that?
Absolutely. Come on. That's why you're in here, Hustle. I know what you do.
Now look now.
now look now. Now look now.
Be well familiar with the Kabbalion, as above, so below.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a certain level of reciprocity built in to the universe already.
Organic, yes.
Organically. Now, if we're not mindful of that, like what you're saying, empathy is obviously a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, here's the problem. When it comes to dealing with somebody else, if you do not consider how they value these things, you will be giving away something that is priceless for pennies.
Isn't that? Do not cast pearls to the fetus.
Come on, brother.
Come on. Hey, I hear you, brother. Hey, Hustle, guess what you just did, good brother?
That's it, brother. Miami here, man.
Miami in the building, man. We appreciate Hustle. Let's get True Monger in here. True Measy, get in here.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me, brother. You got to follow it up. You my last caller. Let's go.
Oh, man. I think it's a condition that we all have experienced at some point. As far as like pouring into people and not getting it back, or maybe even expecting to get something back. I think when we were like young, we didn't really think about getting anything back. But as we get older, start experiencing more people and how they treat you, or maybe even take advantage of your kindness or whatever. Kind of puts a score on you a little bit. So you're a little more cautious about how you give to certain people. Because you see how they treat you when you do give. So, yeah, we all go through that. But I think to get to the point where trust is no longer an issue, it's going to be different at a different pace for everybody, but I think you have to evolve to that.
Yes.
You have to unlearn the traditional giving and trusting and continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may grow out of it, some people won't.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I'm always working on, because I have to catch myself when I'm giving, and I think, okay, I've been just been giving and giving and giving.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones I give to don't seem to appreciate it, or they waste it.
Mm-hmm.
So at times it makes me feel a kind of way, but I have to catch myself. It's like, that's not on you, that's on them. You do what you do because you wanted to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and leave it at that. Well, I'm human, I have my setbacks. But the key is to,
I love
once
it,
you
brother.
recognize those setbacks, is to go forward.
That's right.
And be better.
That's right. That's right. Brother, guess what you
And
just
at the end
did,
of the day,
man?
that's all I can do. Just right there in the building.
Dallas, Texas is in the building because of my brother Truemonger. Listen, if you guys want to bring your city in the building, y'all know what to do. The number to Dallas, 1-800-920-1580. Just understand this. We start the conversations. You finish them. You don't have to agree. We just want to agitate your mind, expand your boundaries. We got to get you outside your comfort zone to just even think about things like this. It's important to do so. I love tonight's conversation, and I hope you did too. Up next, Tavis on the nines. Hey, the voice of reason will be back tomorrow with another slapper. Enjoy your evening, people. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Great show. Appreciate y'all. Dopeness, dopeness, dopeness. I'll see y'all tomorrow with another one.